¿Cómo están, amigos de TNT Sports México? Qué gusto saludarlos. Acá estamos desde los estudios de la Premier League en Londres con una leyenda del fútbol inglés, 163 goles. Su apodo era el God, el dios del fútbol en Liverpool, una leyenda, Robbie Fowler. Thank you so much for your time, Robbie. How are you?
Pleasure. I'm good. Yourself?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
To start this interview, I would like to ask you, how do you start playing football and where do you fall in love with the beautiful game?
Well, I'm from Liverpool, so we all know Liverpool as a club. Liverpool was a place that people only want to play football. So from a young age, I was carrying a football around with me. Playing for my school teams, getting spotted for playing for Liverpool from a young age. Football's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. So the love stems from the fact of being a baby and just carrying a football around with me. I suppose it's no different than a lot of the kids in Mexico just carrying footballs. I do love the game.
Yeah, that's right. And I know you grew up as an Evertonian with all your family. How was that experience?
Well, it was good because Everton were good then. They were decent. So, I obviously playing for Liverpool from a young age, so I gradually went over to Liverpool. But, Everton in the 80s when I was growing up were a very, very good team. So Everton and Liverpool were very, very evenly matched. And it was a good time for football in the city.
And then how was your transition to play for Liverpool? And did your family really encourage you to play for the Reds when they were a blue?
Yeah, look, I don't know the stature of teams in Mexico in terms of whether you like this team or dislike that team, but in Liverpool, yes, we some like Everton, some dislike Everton, and half of my family are all Blues and half of them are Reds. But my blue side of the family, they don't talk to me. No, they don't talk to me no more. But they obviously want me to do well. But whenever I played against Everton, they wanted Everton to win. They wanted me to do well, but they wanted Everton to win. So just because I played for Liverpool, none of them changed and supported Liverpool. They all still support Everton.
Amazing. And who was your role model? Who was your idol growing up?
Well, I grew up obviously supporting Everton, but my favourite players were obviously an England international called Trevor Steven and a Scottish international called Graham Sharp. Both brilliant players. Love watching them. Graham Sharp was a goal scorer. Number 9, a little bit different than what we see today. And Trevor Steven was a tricky winger who could go past players, and I enjoyed watching both of them.
And you scored many goals for Liverpool. Do you have any specific memories playing for the Reds?
Loads. I did score quite a few goals, and I was lucky enough to do that. And I can probably sit here and talk to you about 90% of the goals I scored. I do remember. I don't remember how many, but if you were to sort of sit and can you remember this goal, I probably would talk about it. In terms of winning trophies and scoring goals for Liverpool was brilliant. But there's been many great games that we've seen in the Premier League over the years that I've been lucky to be a part of.
And how can you describe the atmosphere for the fans in Mexico? Because a lot of people talk about the great atmosphere in Anfield, but how do you describe? How can you tell the live in football in Anfield?
I think it's hard to describe it. I think you need to go there and experience it in person. The biggest compliment I can pay to the Liverpool fans and Liverpool as a club and the stadium is, you talk to a lot of the players, a lot of the great players of the game, a lot of the great managers, the likes of Jose Mourinho, Arsene Wenger, Sir Alex Ferguson will say the same thing, Thierry Henry, a lot of the Barcelona players. They'll all say, Anfield has probably got one of the best atmospheres. Now, it's because the team, the fans get right behind the team and sort of give them that little bit of lift. I know people all over the world will say that, but it just seems different at Liverpool. I don't know the answer. I really can't give you the definitive answer that you're looking for, but I think you really do need to go there and experience it in person. But just don't listen to me. Listen to Arsene Wenger, listen to Thierry Henry, because they always say Liverpool is probably up there with the best atmospheres they've ever played under.
And how can you compare the modern Premier League with the one you play in the 90s? You think it's different? In your time it was a bit tougher, more tackles?
Yeah, no, I think technically I think the players were better. certainly in my era. I think nowadays we look at a game and we look at the speed, and the sports science is totally changed. So the game is probably quicker. The game's played on, absolute carpets now. The grass and the pitches are perfect, whereas sometimes our pitches weren't brilliant. So we knew that we had to have an unbelievable good touch to sort of play and develop and and express yourself in a Premier League game. But I think technically, we were probably better. And I hope that doesn't come across as big-headed or egotistical to the play, or big-headed or maybe detrimental or to the players of now. But I think we were probably better, but I think they're more fitter now.
And how do you think? What do you think of this new Liverpool with Arne Slot?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, and quite rightly so. Top of the Champions League, top of the Premier League, and they have been great to watch. They're getting results. They've had probably one mishap in terms of the Notts Forest game where they should be winning, but I think it's been close to perfection. A new manager coming in, he's sort of hit the ground running. He's took over where Jurgen left off. And you've got to say we're good value for where we are, and I know there's a long way to go, and I don't think anyone's getting too excited yet, because I think we'll see teams certainly putting pressure on them. But it's been wonderful to watch so far.
And what do you think of Mo Salah, who just break your records of your goals in the Premier League? What do you think of him? Do you celebrate that goals?
No, I didn't actually, because I wanted to stay where I was. But in all fairness, I think Mo he's an incredible player. Look, I've been a player who's got records or stats in the higher levels of the Premier League, but they're always going to get broken. But as long as it's a Liverpool player keeps beating them and scoring goals, then I'm happy. And if Mo Salah's scoring goals, Liverpool are winning games and potential winning trophies. So I'm happy with that.
Happy days.
Yeah.
And then, what do you think of Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez, another great South American attacking players?
Yeah, I think Luis Diaz has been brilliant. I think we've probably seen a real different player this year, a player who looks confident. I think Darwin Núñez is a player who's we have a saying in England, it's Marmite. It's either you either like him or you don't. Now, a lot of people don't like him because he doesn't score the amount of goals, but I like him for his work ethic, and I like the fact that he will cause trouble and he will cause chaos. And he probably does need to develop that side of his game where he needs to probably be a bit more composed in front of goal. But I think that will come. I think I am enjoying watching him because we know what we're going to get. He is going to be an handful for opposition players. And
do you have any best memories wearing the England shirt?
Not really, no. I think I've obviously got a few. I'm a cap, so 26 caps, maybe. I think every time you play is a sort of a memory. Obviously, I was lucky enough to score a few goals, and you might not thank me for this, but I did score against Mexico at Wembley. So I apologise for that. That's a good memory.
We will talk about that a little bit later. And do you think this England with Thomas Tuchel, they have a chance to win the World Cup?
I think they've got a chance, but other nations have a chance as well. So it's not about us being better than anyone. I think it's us putting the performance in that warrant a run in tournaments, and we have got potential. We have got some wonderful players in this country. Some wonderful players playing for the national team, but there's lots of nations who have wonderful players. So it's whoever's better at that particular moment. And look, what will be England? But I do think they've got a great bunch of players. There's a good squad to pick an 11 from, and they've got a very good manager. So time will tell. But they have got a chance. But so do other nations.
And who do you think was the best player you play with?
I've been lucky enough to play with some great ones. The likes of John Barnes, sort of early 80s, late 80s, early 90s, phenomenal player. Ian Rush, Liverpool's record goal scorer. Steven Gerrard, who we all know. But my favourite one was Steve McManaman. Steve McManaman was brilliant, and he probably doesn't get the love that he should be getting because he was an extraordinary player. And
the best stadium you play around the world?
I've got to say Anfield, haven't I? Anfield. I've never, you know, I would like to go to some of the stadiums in Mexico actually, and you know, experience that, because we talk about the atmosphere certainly in the UK and how good it is. You know, obviously I've been a manager in different countries and I've experienced different managers, but being a player, or you know, over there at the Aztec, yeah. I mean, I remember the '86 World Cup where obviously Maradona obviously scored. But I think experience the atmosphere in the stadiums over in Mexico would be brilliant. You know, certainly as, I mean, obviously not as a player, but you know, who knows in the future as a manager.
Yeah, and do you have any favorite swap shirt when you were a player that you still?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I think if you went into my house, you wouldn't know I played football. I have nothing on show. I have lots of shirts, obviously. I have obviously an attic with like a box with obviously football shirts in. But I'll be honest with you, I couldn't really tell you whose shirts were in there. But you know what? I'm going to go home and have a look actually.
Anyone do come to your mind? That can you remember?
No, I can't really remember actually. No, I genuinely can't. I can't. No, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. And who do you think is the best Premier League player of all time?
Of all time? Ooh, good question. I think you'd put Steven Gerrard up there. I mean, obviously, I'm talking the likes of goal scorers. So you've got the likes of Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry, who are incredible. I mean, you'd have to put Stevie G up there with obviously being a player who could possibly do everything: score goals, defend, you know, pass the ball, get about a football pitch. So I would put him up there.
And can you tell me 5 clubs from Mexico?
5, yes, I can. I can tell you, obviously got Monterrey, we've got Chivas, Guadalajara, Pumas UNAM, Cruz Azul.
Cruz Azul, yeah.
Club America.
Yeah, perfect.
And the club, well, Necaxa.
Yeah, wonderful.
I probably do know a few more, but I'm happy with it.
You know your stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
okay. I'm okay.
And what about players?
Players, Chicharito, the goalkeeper with all the colours, Campos.
Yeah.
Rafael Marquez.
Yeah.
Defender, and the greatest one of all, Hugo Sanchez.
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful player. I liked Real Madrid because of Rodrigo and Sanchez.
He scored wonderful goals.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a player he was.
And tell me about that match when you play against Mexico in '97 at Wembley Stadium. What can you remember from that game?
I'll be honest with you, not much to be fair, because I do remember I didn't score. I scored maybe 6-7 goals for England. I think it was maybe the keeper parried it, and I maybe scored an header from about 2 yards, 3 yards out. So it wasn't a great goal in terms of looking pretty, but it was a great goal because it was a goal for England. So a goal for England at Wembley was always good. It was always special.
And what's your dream now in world of football? I mean, you are retired, but do you have any? You still?
Yeah, no. I think with me, I've obviously been a head coach and I've been a manager sort of overseas, away from the UK, and at the minute now I'm looking for opportunities. So I've been relatively successful in terms of my route and my role into coaching, and I will get another opportunity.
So if a club from Mexico comes to speak with you, would you like to go to Mexico?
Absolutely. Do you know anyone? You get me there? Well, I will brush up on my Spanish.
Let me make some phone calls.
Yeah, I will brush up. But yeah, look, of course, and look, you know, if there's a club in Mexico or anywhere, you know, and who wants to have a chat, then I'd love to. You know, I've got a lot of time for the game. I think I've got a lot of love and a lot of passion for the game, yeah, let's see where that takes me. And
just last one from me, do you have any advice for young players who want to be like you growing up?
I think the advice you give to anyone is just to practice. I think dedication and sacrifice is a big thing. Now, if you're dedicated and willing to put in the hours and the hours and the monotony and the repetition of the practice, you will become a better player. So that's what I did. You know, obviously you have a little bit of talent, but you need something to try and get that talent out here, and that is by practicing. And you practice all the time, both feet.
Beautiful. Robbie, thank you so much for your time and all the best.
Pleasure,
for your
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.